The National Institutes of Health is claiming budget cuts are the reason. And a new political ad is placing the blame squarely on Republicans' shoulders. With more on this, Grover Norquist, President of Americans for Tax Reform. Grover, great to have you here. So what do you make of this claim? Is it true? Do the Republicans just take all the money out of any potential solution for Ebola?
It's kind of sad that the Democratic groups, instead of trying to solve the problem, are trying to exploit this crisis for political gain. Step one. Step two, let's look at the numbers. In 1980, the National Institute of Health had $3 billion. Today, it's 10 times that size. $30 billion. The Center for Disease Control, which is supposed to be focusing on this sort of stuff, has about $6 billion. It got an extra $4 billion $6 billion a year, an extra $4 billion over the last few years, and they turned around and spent about 6% of that on infectious diseases. So the Center for Disease Control and the NIH decided to make Ebola and other similar infectious diseases not exactly a top priority. They say if they had more money, they'd have done something. They had $30 billion. They had lots of money, and they chose to spend it other places.
Grover, let's get to some of the things they have been spending on, because I think it's instructional to know where that money is going. So if you look at the National Institutes for Health, they've spent $257,000 to make an online game as a companion to the First Lady's White House garden. That could have gone to Ebola, right?
Yeah, there's about $500 million that went from the Centers for Disease Control. Centers for Disease Control, $500 million, more than went for infectious diseases for their transformation fund. That's supporting local farmers so you can get fresh fruit as opposed to something else. And playing all sorts of games, getting local sidewalks so people will walk more. $500 million on interesting spending, but if you're the Center for Disease Control, why are you building sidewalks and trying to do local farmers markets?
Let me give you a couple more, because I think this is something people need to understand. $939,000 to learn why male fruit flies prefer younger females. If you don't understand that, you're not alive. $3.2 million for monkeys to drink alcohol excessively to determine what effect it has on their body tissues. $325,000 to learn why marriages are happier when wives calm down during arguments with their husband. Come on. This is a waste of money, isn't it?
Well, it's certainly nonsense for the people who made those decisions. Governing is about making decisions. They had $30 billion last year at NIH. They chose to spend it on things like that. The Center for Disease Control, $6 billion, and they're busy doing farmers markets. Americans, when they hear National Institute of Health, assume that serious research is going on. When they hear Center for Disease Control, they assume it's about disease control. What you're getting are studies. Remember, Obama fought hard to get gun control studies instead of Ebola funding. He also recommended cuts in the Center for Disease Control the last 2 years. Congress spent more than he asked for. So at every level, even the Washington Post gave 4 Pinocchios to the Democrats' politicalization. The Washington Post.
Grover,
you know you're in trouble.
You know you're in trouble when that happens. Unfortunately, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you for coming in. Great to see you.
Sure.